I'm Michaela Taylor. I work in the Study Abroad office at Middlebury, and I'm joined by Catherine Pieratini, who also is here in Vermont with me, and Kerstin Wilsch, who is the director of the program in Jordan. So thanks everybody for coming, and I will let her start off with her PowerPoint, and then as Catherine mentioned, we'll have time for a question and answer session at the end.
Yes, hello from Jordan. Let me see if I can get my PowerPoint running. Welcome to our presentation about Middlebury School in Jordan, in Amman. This school started in 2011, so next year we will have our 10th anniversary. I personally have been in Jordan since 2007. And I love the place, and I've always felt really comfortable here. People are super nice, and I think everybody who comes here gets attached to it is in some way or other, and students usually have a hard time to leave at the end of the semester. And quite a few of them come back later in a different capacity. So I'm gonna introduce you a little bit to our program. I'm not gonna talk a lot about Jordan itself. You will see a lot of photos, and I think you can also read about it somewhere else. So I'm really gonna focus on the school, our program in Jordan itself. First of all, طبعا بالعربي. أهلا وسهلا في عمان في الأردن. So this is starting with a couple of photos already. Our program is really special in that it offers the students full immersion. And what does that mean? It's a nice word. I mean, you come here and you immerse yourself, but in what do you immerse yourself? Of course, first of all, in the language. And this is why we have a language pledge. And the language pledge means that you sign after the first week of the program, after orientation, which is still in English mostly, you sign the language pledge, which means that you will most of the time speak in Arabic, basically 24/7. Of course, there are always some exceptions to the rule, but this is something that we would explain when students are here. And this really helps you a lot to make fast progress, and much faster than students in other programs. And this is what we always hear from our students when they meet students, maybe from the same university, but they're in another program. They can see after only a couple of weeks how much faster they move and how much faster they learn. So that's the backbone of our program. That's the linguistic immersion, of course, also always going together with culture. Then the classes all are in Arabic, and I'm going to talk a little bit more about the academic part in a few minutes. Then also there are lots of co-curricular or extracurricular activities in Arabic, and a very important part also of the program is that you will be living with locals, you will be living with Jordanian families, and of course interacting with them in all fields of the society. And again, you will see how we make sure that this really happens. We are based at the University of Jordan. This is the biggest university in the country. It's a public university. The campus is huge. You can see there's a lot of green, a lot of trees. Jordan itself, of course, has a lot of places where there's no trees, no green, but the university is a very green campus. And you see many, many people walking around there. There are more than 40,000 students. And if you want to meet somebody, this is super easy. You just need to go somewhere and ask for where's the library, even if you don't want to go to the library, just to start a conversation, and people will be interested in you and they will ask where you come from. And it's really easy to make, to find friends, to make friends on campus. We are in the language center, as you can see. There's not all the classes are there. We have different buildings. But that's where we are based also as a program. And this is the photo on the top after the on the last day of orientation, when the students have signed the language pledge, this is this big sheet where you can see everybody has signed. And that's the day when we, after the last event, we go and have lunch together. And then everything is in Arabic already at that point. Okay, so talking about academics, the program consists of various things. It consists of the academics part. It consists of extracurriculars, as we said. There is some community engagement, and there is the host families. So again, we try to create a space where you, if you want or not, you will have to use Arabic, and it will be a lot of fun. Academics, you have to take 4 courses. The schedule is quite rigorous, but it's also nice that you will only have classes from Sunday to Wednesday. Thursday is a normal work day, but that is not, we don't have any classes on that day. And you will have in these 4 days 6 hours of modern standard Arabic, so basically every day, 4 hours of colloquial Arabic, that's 3 days a week. And then you will have to choose from the elective courses, choose 2 courses, each is 3 hours, 2 days per week. That's the general program for you, for the classes. We do have a good team of experienced instructors. Many of them have been working with us for many, many years now, and we're really happy to have them. And students give us very good feedback. And we do actually regularly observe the classes and have students' evaluations twice a semester, and once at midterm and one at the end, so that we can be sure that things are going well, and if there's anything not so well, going so well, then we can address it and make sure that things change while you are still taking these classes. So a little bit more detailed about the language courses. We have our own teaching materials. We have developed them over the years. We are actually now revising them. They're based on the latest developments in language teaching pedagogy. We try to link the topics in our materials in the language classes to the local society. So there will be a lot of things where you also will have to do some research. You have to talk to people. So that you also feel like this is a class you're taking in Jordan because you're in Jordan. Not, I mean, you could take Arabic anywhere, but you should also feel that you are benefiting from being in a certain place and really learning about that place and learning about the society and about the people. Also, as I already said, you will progress very fast, and I think the fastest probably in speaking, and that will be in Jordanian colloquial Arabic. So most of the students, when they arrive, they don't know any colloquial. They know maybe a little bit from Al-Kitab, but not really. They can't really communicate. But within, I would say, a month, students already say, "Oh my God, I can talk in Jordanian Arabic, bil-Amiyya," and it's amazing how fast that goes, because you will hear it everywhere, you will use it everywhere, and you will have it in the classroom, and you will take it from the classroom immediately to outside the classroom, to your life, to your daily lives. And when you arrive, we will place you, of course, based on your previous studies, but also have a placement test to make sure that you're on the right level. And there's also a 2-week period for us trying out if you are on the right level. So within these 2 weeks, you can also move to another level if the teacher and you feel that you are not placed properly. So in these 2 weeks, we will find out whether you're placed in the right. Yes, so we will make sure after the 2 weeks that you are where you need to be. And based on the placement in Fusha, you also will be able to choose from a range of content courses. And I'm gonna talk about this in a minute. just saying, when I was saying that there is, we are trying to link the classes to the local society. This photo, for example, is in the Jordan Museum, Mathaf al-Urdun, where the students went, and there's a lot of interactive stuff there, and they really had a good time. They could try out their Arabic in various fields, and that's one of the examples where we don't just stay in the classroom, but also take you to places and make sure that you don't think you're in a class in the US. And the class can also very easily end up like this, you sitting on the floor and writing something, writing a story on a poster or something like that. So it's very interactive and very lively, and students usually have a lot of fun in the classes, in the language courses specifically. So after the language classes, as I said, there are also the electives. They are all in Arabic again, experienced teachers. That's, for example, Ustad Peter. He teaches refugee studies, and he's actually not a university professor, but he's a very good teacher. He works for an American organization, so sometimes our teachers come actually from the society itself, so they have some teaching experience, but they also have a background in real life where they work something and then they do the course for us, which it enriches the courses very much because they bring a lot of experience to the classroom. And then we always have guest speakers or field trips, as you just saw, going to the museum. Or here, for example, students went to a radio station, a local radio station, which is a bit like, what is it called, NPR in the US. So it's a community radio, and so they went there and learned about what they're doing there and the topics that they're talking about some more sensitive topics. They're not so close to the government, so they're criticizing a bit more. So that's one of the examples as well for what we do. Past courses include, you can read that, the first 4 are actually for intermediate level students, so that would be students in their 3rd year of Arabic, and the others are for the advanced students who would be either coming in spring when they are in their 6th semester of Arabic, or they can choose one of those, not 2, or students who are already in the 4th year of studies. So it's quite a range, and sometimes we add something new, and I have not written down all of them here, but you can see it's quite, it gives you quite a good idea about different fields in the Arab world and in Arabic and the Jordanian society as well. So one thing that students usually really like is Project Week. This is a week after midterm, 2 weeks after midterm, where we cancel the classes. There are no regular classes. Students are put together in groups across the language levels. They can choose between a couple of topics. Usually we have 2 or 3 groups. A variety of topics and activities, a lot of actually visits during this week and meeting people, where you get some more in-depth knowledge about society here. And topics in the past have included basically things that are important to know about if you want to learn about Jordan. Tribes and tribalism is a big thing. Refugees in Jordan, of course, with the crisis in Syria. Countering violent extremism, this has been a bit less in the past, so maybe that's not something we'll offer anytime soon again. Youth culture, and of course environment and development is something where you can always learn something new about the country. So these are a couple of photos. This, for example, was visiting a tribe in Salt, which is a city about an hour or 45 minutes away from Amman. Talking about tribal issues. That was the environment group, looking at a solar plant, solar panel, how do you call that, say that? Solar plant. Anyway, and that was about refugees. We had a guest to talk about, yeah, refugees in Jordan. That's a wonderful opportunity for students to really go in depth into the topics that they have chosen. We also have internships, but this is only for students in their second semester, so it's for academic year students. They can do them for credit, 10 to 15 hours per week, have to write a research paper at the end, and can get credit for that as well. So if you go to our website, the Jordan program website, you will find descriptions of previous internships. Students have to write a short English description, but just to give you a couple of ideas here, these are some places where students interned. And this is usually a really good opportunity. Unfortunately, it's not available in the first semester because students usually don't speak Amie, colloquial, and they do need it for having a meaningful internship because people will not just speak in Fusha all the time. So if you intend to come for a whole year, that's definitely an option for the second semester. Regarding our extracurricular activities, we have a lot of things going on. These are, of course, voluntary. You can participate or not. You can also do your own thing in Amman. There's a lot of things you can do. But in any case, you can watch films with us, literary events. Explorers Club is basically exploring Amman. Cooking events at staff houses. My place is also once per semester I'm inviting some students, not the whole group because my house is not big enough, but 10 to 12 students to my place, and then we cook together. Game nights, discussions, and whatever students are interested in. We are always up for new things, and if there are any suggestions or things students want to do, we'll be happy to organize them. We also have a component that we call community engagement, and that's something where we want every student to choose an activity. That could be volunteering. Some students were teaching English to beginners in order not to violate the language pledge too much, so you will still need a lot of Arabic, other opportunities as well. You could have a language partner, language cultural partner whom you meet with once a week for 2 hours, one in English, one in Arabic. Exploring the city again with the Mosaic Club. Students were actually also, in some semesters, if there's enough interest, you can see the photo on the left. This is our Dabke group in a specific semester. So students learned throughout the semester how to dance Dabke, and then they presented this in our end of semester party. And you can also choose going to a local choir for the semester or joining a team, a sports team. In any case, it should always be an opportunity for you to practice your Arabic and to give something back to the local community as well. Okay, these photos basically are all with program students and mentors. So our mentors are usually students at the University of Jordan. We choose them very carefully. They have to apply, they have to write down why they would like to be with us, what they would be able to do with our students, and we usually find really great people, and some of them have been with us for years as well, a couple of semesters. And usually they're really, the relationships between the mentors and the students grow quickly because they're around from day one. They come to the orientation week. The top photo, for example, this is a game where they get to know each other. And on the left, on the top, they were going to a cultural place in Amman, in downtown, together. And then they come to trips and they just hang out in our student place. So it's a really good way to make friends quickly, and usually we have, like, for 25 students we would have 10 mentors, so you can definitely find one of them or two who you can connect with and then just develop relationships and do things outside of the program, of course, as well. Sometimes you're invited to their houses, and yeah, they will be around all the time. Okay, housing. I already mentioned that you will stay with local families in homestays. We have families we've been working with for many years now. Sometimes we take somebody new on, or sometimes families stop working with us, but it's usually a great way for students to learn about how people live, what they eat, what they talk about. Yeah, and they very well take care of every student. You will sometimes feel like you are eating too much because they're cooking all the time and telling you you have not eaten enough, just eat a little more. In the second semester, students can choose between a homestay or an apartment. That's up to you, but still keeping the pledge. So that's one of the tables with a lot of great food. And this is one host family with a student in the middle. So they also come to events. I'm gonna talk about day trips in a minute, where host families also join us. So now, excursions. We do 2 weekend excursions where we stay overnight for 1 night. And we are trying to go to places where you can't easily go on your own. The public transportation system in Jordan is not very good. It's just between the cities. You can go to the south, you can go to Petra. I'm sure you have heard about Petra. There is a bus there, so we don't take you there. But we are going on a hike that starts in the middle of nowhere. So you have a hard time. If you went there actually with your own car, you would need to walk back, but only one way is already 7 to 8 hours. So you don't want to walk back 7 and 8 hours. So we're taking you in a bus, and the bus goes to our final destination then. That's a long hike in a wadi, really nice place. Also, next day we go to the Dead Sea because it's on our way back home. And the other place to go to is Wadi Rum, the desert. So these are our 2 weekend trips where we take students out. Day trips, these are usually joined by whoever wants to come, actually, the mentors, instructors, host families. And if by that time you already have another friend, a Jordanian friend, you can also bring them. And that's usually a lot of fun. And there's a couple of places that we take turns in going to. And of course, all the other places that we can't go to in the semester, where if you would join us, you can always explore them on your own. They're also in places that you can go to by bus, actually, most of them. Yeah, so that's our trips. I'm gonna show you a couple of photos after Michaela will say something about application. But I just wanted to say also, these are of course all organized activities, and there's always so much room for yourself to explore. Students do explore, they go to different places within Jordan. Most students also take advantage of being so close to Palestine and Israel and go there for a weekend or two. And depending on the situation in the region, Lebanon is a destination that students like to go to, or Egypt. Of course, we don't know for the next couple of months how things will develop with Corona, but I hope that at some point we'll go back to normal, and then you can explore these places. Okay, so Michaela, maybe you can say something about the application process?
Yes, absolutely. I know that you see students after they've done all of this and when they arrive, but the before part that is also important is the requirements are pretty similar to some of our other programs. We ask that students have completed their second year of Arabic. And then as Kerstin mentioned, that if a student wants to study in the spring, it's usually better if they also have completed the 5th semester. So they would be in their 6th semester of studying Arabic. Like she mentioned, they don't need to know any colloquial Jordanian Arabic when they arrive, because they do teach that alongside the modern standard Arabic. So we ask a personal statement and a writing sample in Arabic, along with a recommendation from a language professor, approval from the study abroad advisor, and the passport transcript. And then the deadlines are different for Middlebury students and students from other institutions. For Middlebury students, for both semesters, it's February 1st, and then for the academic year or fall for non-Middlebury, March 15th, and for the spring, October 1st. So if you have any questions about applications, feel free to reach out to me or ask them in the Q&A or in the chat. But I think, all of this information as well can be found online. Bill Mayers, the program advisor, is always an expert on visa and travel and all of the different requirements to get to Jordan.
Thank you. I don't have an extra slide for safety and security issues, but I wanted to mention that as well. That of course this is very important for us, that our students are safe and secure. The college works with a US company that monitors the situation in the Middle East all the time, all over the world actually, but specifically for us, of course, in the Middle East. And we also are, I'm the warden of the program in front of the US Embassy. So they also send us information if there's anything that we need to know. And sometimes we have meetings with them or trainings. So we are always very aware of what's going on and to make sure that you're in a safe place. And health insurance, of course, is also part of the program that is organized by the college as well. Okay, so I'm gonna leave you with a couple of photos, and I will see if it's working. I have some music as well. We'll see. Yeah. So you can see these are photos from Amman, from the country, various places. Actually, the one where it says "Make hummus, not walls," this is not from Jordan. This is from Palestine. You know about the wall that Israel is building or has built, and that one of the students actually took these photos. This photo. You will also, if you want to see more photos, you can always go to our Facebook page, and there will be the address of the link will be on the last slide, I think, last but one, where we have a photo competition every semester, and then we publish the photos there and also the winners. So if you want to see more photos taken by students, that's the best place to go. Some more impressions. There's a lot of archaeological sites that can be visited as well. Very interesting. And of course, the golden sands of Wadi Rum are always worth a visit. And camels don't always walk on the streets here, so it was really a good moment that the student caught. You don't have that a lot. And of course, I already said that you will eat a lot because your host families will cook a lot. But it's just there's so many yummy things around. You don't know when to stop, honestly. I mean, you could always eat. So, and great colors as well, as you can see. So these are the websites where you can find more information. The first one is our official website for Jordan. The second one, the Facebook page for the program. And of course, if you want to learn more, if you already know somebody who has been in Jordan, even if not with our program, it's always a good idea to talk to them. And you can always also reach out to Bill Mayers or to me for more information. So I think I need to stop this music. Okay, and that's the last photo we have. It was actually very early in our program. مع السلامة وخلينا نشوفكم في عمان. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Kerstin, for such a great presentation. I know I learned a lot about the program as well. So if anybody has any questions, we are happy to open up for that. Either, as Catherine said, you can unmute yourself or pop your questions in the chat box. But yes, thank you again, Kerstin. And while people are thinking up their questions, maybe one that Catherine often asks is, what makes a successful participant in the program? What kind of traits or things do you look for someone who really gets a lot out of their experience?
Yeah, so I mean, one thing is that you need to be aware that the language pledge is not easy. It is a challenge, but it's very rewarding. So you will, depending on where you are with your Arabic already, but if you're more like on an intermediate level, students sometimes say, I feel so stupid because I can't say what I want to say, because I just don't have the words and I can't express myself. And the best advice is, okay, just take it the way it is and laugh at yourself and just take it easy. It's not, you're not like muted for the rest of your life. Maybe in the first couple of weeks anyway, some students don't speak a lot, they listen more, they get used to listening to the dialect, and they just maybe are a bit afraid of making mistakes, all that. That's actually one thing that I would also say, forget about it. If you make mistakes, you learn from them. But yeah, I mean, you just have to know that you will not be the same person. You will be have a different personality, because you will just not be able to say what you usually say. But you can make fun of it, really. You can start learning a joke that you can always tell people again. They will be amazed at your humor and how you can actually tell an Arabic joke, or stuff like that, you know. So you just need to be aware that it's a challenge and it's different from all your life before, and it will be for this semester and will improve in terms of language. But I think a positive attitude is very important. And I think the most successful students really were those who try to keep the pledge as much as they can and not give up. You will maybe have times where you feel, I don't want to do this anymore. But then you can motivate yourself with through talking to us, talking to the mentors, talking to other students. And we will actually have also opportunities for you to speak in English. We usually, we started offering a space every other week for an hour where students can meet up and just speak in English and exchange experiences and that makes it easier, because you will see, okay, I'm not the only one who is having the issues sometimes, or having this challenge. Yeah, so again, positive attitude, being prepared to be a different person, and being prepared to just really speak in Arabic and watch how fast you will move. And I think this package together makes you successful.
Thank you so much for that that answer. That was really, I think, put it into a good perspective for sure. I did get another question from a prospective student who asked if you must be a major or minor in Arabic, or if you just take classes in Arabic, you would be eligible. And the answer to that is you don't have to be a major or a minor. You can, as long as you've completed your 4th semester of Arabic, then you're good to go. And all of the different application requirements still apply. Just, we ask for the writing sample and the recommendation just to make sure that you'll be prepared to take all of your coursework and live in Arabic once you arrive. But no, you don't have to be a major.
Okay, Catherine is sending a question, apologizing for her internet connection. The difference between Fusha and Amir, and why it's important to study the colloquial dialect. Of course, I guess, I don't know if there's anybody in attending today who doesn't study Arabic at all, but Fusha is more the official language. It's the language of the Quran, and the one that you will read in newspapers or hear in official speeches. And Amir is the spoken language, but it's also written. People, of course, communicate. If they write messages to each other in WhatsApp or in whatever program they're using, they will write in Amir. They will not write in Fusha. So that's why you have to learn it. If you want to be able to communicate and not just be looked at this nerd who's just always talking Fusha, people do tend to look at people like, okay, maybe they don't as much look at students like that. Specifically, if you were new to the country, you will not be able to speak in colloquial yet, so that's fine. But if they see there's somebody who's already quite advanced and still talking to them, so they might smile a little bit. But yeah, to understand what people are saying, to just get around in daily life. If you want to go shopping, if you want to do anything, people will talk to you in Fusha sometimes, yeah, but that's not their normal speech, and they will open up more if they can just speak the way they usually do.
Yeah, it's good to know. And the courses, other than the colloquial course, are they taught in standard Arabic?
So that's a good question, actually. We do tell our teachers that in the beginning they have to speak Fusha, standard Arabic. But when they notice that students have started getting into Amir and they understand more, they are very happy to move back into what they usually do in classes, even at the universities. This is actually another, we didn't talk about one point. In the 2nd semester, students can also enroll at the university. But again, this will not be in Fusha. So even in the classes, they will speak a mixture of Fusha and colloquial Arabic. Yeah, so our students usually tell the teachers if they don't understand them, if they slip into the Amir very quickly, they should just tell them, can you please talk in Fusha for the next couple of hours or weeks? Yeah, but at some point, as I said, I mean, it's amazing how fast you can progress if you do this experience and you're serious about it. If you keep the pledge and just use Arabic all the time. Yeah.
Thank you. And we do have another question. What is it like for students with dietary restrictions traveling in Jordan and staying with a host family? Are homestays able to accommodate? Is it easy to find food that fits with different needs?
Yes. So every time we have students who are vegetarian, or they are vegan, or they can't eat gluten, or whatever. We know which families are prepared to do what, so we would try to match them with those students, so that's not an issue. The one thing probably that I need to say is gluten-free food is a bit more expensive. You can get it, you can buy it, but we usually do tell students if they apply and they fill out the questionnaire about their own the restrictions, we do tell them that they might need to buy some of the stuff themselves, because the host families won't get automatically more money for accommodation and food. That's something to take into account. There is, for example, gluten-free bread, which is a little bit more expensive. So I know that students, if they're more than one, we try to put them together as well in the same family, so they go and get some of this bread themselves, for example. Yeah. Or just for a change, something that the family would not cook, just go to a shop and buy it on your own expense.
Thank you.
I'm also always happy to talk about my favorite spots in the country. I have a couple of cafes that I like in Amman, and I have a couple of places where I like to go just for some solitude, or just, you know, to hang out. There's one place I really like to go to, is it's called the Dead Sea Panorama. So the Dead Sea, as you may know, is the lowest place on Earth that's above the water. I know there are lower places under the water, but that's the lowest place, 400 meters. I don't know how many feet those are, but 400 meters under sea level. And the Dead Sea Panorama is, on the Jordanian side, there is like mountains, and you go up into the mountains, and there's a restaurant, and then you look down at the Dead Sea, and you see the other side of the Dead Sea. You can see Jerusalem actually from there, and it's such a nice place, specifically in the evening. But that's unfortunately also a place where you can't really go easily. There's no buses there, so maybe host families take students there. Or sometimes we also take them on our day trip to Madaba and then to the Dead Sea Panorama.
Wonderful. We do have another question. If students have the opportunity to travel to Petra, and then I've heard from students in the past questions about the ability to travel in the Middle East from Jordan while they're abroad, and if they're able to go outside of the country, and how easy that is, and what kind of independent travel along with the wonderful excursion.
So Petra, as I already said, we are. Oh, sorry, June. The internet was stuck. Yes, Petra, I already said we are not taking students there, because there is a bus going there. It's very easy. You can go like 6:30 in the morning. The bus goes, and it arrives at about 10. And if you don't want to stay overnight, there's actually quite cheap hotels as well there. So you could stay overnight maybe and go into Petra twice, maybe. Yeah, that's easy. Then the bus goes back in the afternoon at maybe 5 or something like that. That's enough to get an idea. But yeah, walk down to the Khazna, which is the first place where Petra starts, basically. Regarding traveling abroad, it doesn't really make much sense to do this over a weekend if you only have like from Thursday to Saturday. Some students do it, but I don't think it's worth it. But we have the midterm break, so we have 10 days. Midterm break starts on Friday or Thursday, basically, because you don't have classes. You might have volunteering on that day, and then the whole week. And this is when students travel, and it's pretty easy to go to Lebanon and to Egypt if there are no travel restrictions. Yeah, so that's easy. And going to Israel and Palestine, that's you go to the border, which is about an hour away from Amman, and then you have to cross the yeah, there's some part between the Jordanian border and the Israeli border, and then from there you take a bus to Jerusalem. And if you're lucky, you can do this. I mean, you can leave here in Amman at 7 in the morning, and you're there at 9:30 or 10. So it's not super far.
Great, thank you. Are there any other questions? Oh. In that case, I think I'll just take this opportunity to thank you, Kerstin, for all of this wonderful information, and to reiterate that we're here to answer your questions if any come up, and feel free to reach out to us. And thank you all for coming, and I'll be sending the recording around in case you missed anything, but thank you so much.
Thank you for preparing it and inviting the people. And I hope that you got some good information. Again, you can ask, and whenever you want, just reach out. And maybe I see some of you in Jordan at some point. أهلا وسهلا في أي وقت.